5 days before the wedding, she leaned in close and whispered something that shattered me from the inside out. She said her ex still loved her, and worse, she said she still loved him too. My name is Sophia, and from wherever you're watching, this stay with me. You know how people say your life flashes before your eyes in a near-death experience? That's exactly how it felt when she said it. Except I wasn't dying. I was just watching every dream I had fall apart in slow motion. We were 5 days away from the biggest moment of our lives, or so I thought. The venue was booked. Her dress had been altered twice. My suit was already at the dry cleaners. Our vows were almost finalized. We'd spent over a year planning this wedding and thousands of dollars investing in a life together. We met in college during a charity fundraiser. She was fiery, full of ideas. I was the quiet one, always working behind the scenes. We clicked in a way I hadn't felt with anyone before. She made me feel seen, alive, wanted, and I gave her everything, my time, my love, my loyalty. When I proposed, she cried, told me she had waited her whole life for a man like me. I believed her, every word, every tear. I never imagined she was carrying another man's name in her heart the whole time. The days leading up to the wedding were a blur of flower arrangements, family phone calls, and last-minute chaos. That night, we were sitting on the couch watching a romantic comedy. She had her head on my shoulder. Everything felt perfect, calm. Then she shifted slightly, sat up, and looked at me with this strange softness in her eyes. "I need to tell you something," she said. My heart skipped, the kind of skip that only happens when something's about to go very, very wrong. She whispered, "My ex still loves me, and I think I still love him." I blinked. For a moment, I thought she was joking, trying to be dramatic. Maybe it was a weird test, but her face stayed still. No smirk, no laughter, just raw, unsettling honesty. I asked her what she meant, why she'd say that now. She just shrugged, said it didn't change anything, that she still wanted to marry me, that we'd still make a good life together, that her feelings were just complicated. Complicated? That's what she called it? I didn't yell, didn't cry. I just nodded, because somewhere deep down I already knew something was off. The way she'd hesitated when we talked about honeymoon plans, how she changed the topic every time I mentioned having kids, how she still flinched when her ex's name came up casually in conversations. She had kept that door open, and now it was wide enough to shove me through it. That night, after she went to sleep, I sat alone at the dining table staring at our printed wedding itinerary, my name and hers etched in elegant gold script, and all I could think was how fake it all suddenly felt. But I didn't cancel the wedding. Not yet. No, I had 5 days, 5 long days, and if she thought she could betray me and still walk down the aisle like nothing happened, then she didn't know me at all. She laughed the next morning like nothing had happened. She brewed coffee. She kissed my cheek. She asked if I could double-check with the caterer. I stared at her like she was a stranger, because in some ways, she was. The woman I had planned to marry would have never dropped a confession like that and acted like it was just another Tuesday. But she had, and now I couldn't unhear it. When I asked her if she was serious about what she said last night, she just shrugged and said, "I was just being honest. Isn't that what you want in a marriage?" Honest. That's what she called it. No remorse, no apology, no guilt, just honesty, as if that made it better. She said she still wanted to go through with the wedding because we had a solid foundation, because we were compatible, because I was stable. That word hit me like a slap. Stable. Like a reliable car or a steady job. Not love, not passion, not commitment, just stable. She didn't love me the way I loved her. Maybe she never had. But she wanted the wedding. She wanted the ring. She wanted the Instagram perfect photos, the applause, the carefully planned reception. She wanted the illusion, and she assumed I'd still give it to her. But while she talked to the florist and picked out napkin colors, I was silently dying inside. I didn't sleep that night or the next. I kept hearing her voice in my head over and over again. I think I still love him. I tried to picture our wedding day as it was meant to be. Her walking down the aisle, our families crying happy tears, us saying, "I do." But now all I saw was her wearing a white dress while thinking about another man. I couldn't let that be my story. And yet, I didn't cancel, because something inside me snapped, not in a destructive way, in a clear, icy, controlled way. She had betrayed me with that whisper, and now I would respond, with silence, with precision, and with truth. That day I started saving screenshots, old messages she had sent about him, a photo she once accidentally sent me that showed her visiting a cafe he owned, the way she still followed his dog's Instagram account, but had unfollowed one of my closest friends. Little things I had brushed off before now felt like bright red flags waving in my face. I called a friend of mine, a graphic designer, and asked him to help me with something for the reception. I told the wedding planner there might be a last-minute slideshow. I began pulling strings not out of panic, but with calm, calculated resolve. She thought I'd go through with the wedding anyway. She thought I'd smile for the pictures. She thought I'd say my vows and pretend none of it mattered. But I had 5 days, and I was going to use every hour of them to prepare something better than cancellation. Something she'd never forget. Something that would expose the truth in front of every person who ever believed we were a perfect couple. She wanted a wedding. I'd give her one, but not the kind she imagined. The days crawled by, but my mind never slowed. I was calm on the outside, checking off the wedding to-do list like a loyal fiancé, but inside I was constructing a storm. I wasn't going to yell or cry. I was going to make her feel what she made me feel, not with rage, but with precision. While she messaged her bridesmaids about hairstyles and centerpieces, I messaged my cousin Nate. He worked in sound tech, trusted, loyal, and sharp. I told him what happened. He didn't hesitate. "Say less," he texted back. "I'm in." I then reached out to the wedding planner and asked for a change in the reception program. Something small, just a little tribute video after the first dance. She smiled warmly and said she'd make sure the projector was ready. "It'll be beautiful," she said. I smiled too, just not for the same reason. Each night, while she FaceTimed her friends and gushed about the venue, I sat with headphones on, compiling everything I'd collected: screenshots, voice notes, emails she thought I'd never see. There was a message where she told a friend, "I still think about him more than I should. But don't worry, Sophia will give me the life I need. Need, not want, not love, need. Like I was a mortgage approval, like I was a stepping stone." There was even a time-stamped photo from a few months ago, her sitting at that same ex's cafe, her hand holding a cup, his hand in the corner of the frame. She had lied about that day, said she was with her sister. I gathered it all, compiled it into a perfectly timed 5-minute clip. It started with our engagement photos, soft music, smiles, her fake laughter. Then slowly, it shifted. The tone darkened. The screenshots appeared one by one, her own words on display, her own lies projected 30 feet wide, and then the final slide, 5 words in white font on a black screen. "You never loved me back." I saved the file on 2 separate USBs and sent a backup copy to Nate. I checked the AV system myself the day before the wedding under the excuse of being a control freak. No one questioned it. No one suspected a thing. She still smiled at me, kissed me, held my hand during rehearsals. She didn't know I was seeing through every gesture, every "I love you." She thought she had me. She thought I was too soft, too safe, too stable to ever fight back. But I wasn't. I didn't scream at her. I didn't sabotage anything. I just prepared the truth. And the truth didn't need decoration. It didn't need flowers or a cake. It just needed a screen and the right moment. 5 days ago, she whispered that she still loved her ex. 5 days was all I needed, because I wasn't just going to leave her. I was going to let her expose herself. in front of her friends, her family, her followers, everyone who thought she was something she wasn't. She wanted the spotlight. I was going to give it to her. The wedding day arrived like a scene from a romantic movie. Sunshine, fresh flowers, nervous smiles, camera flashes. But none of that touched me. I stood still, my heartbeat slow, my expression calm, because I wasn't there to marry her. I was there to bury the lie. The guests arrived one by one, dressed in pastels and pearls, shaking hands and exchanging compliments. My aunt cried when she hugged me. My best friend gave me a thumbs up. The pastor patted my shoulder. Everyone thought this was the beginning of forever. She entered like a queen, hair curled perfectly, eyes sparkling, bouquet trembling slightly in her hands. I'll give her this. She was beautiful. But beauty fades, and truth doesn't. She reached the altar. I saw it in her eyes, not love but confidence, the kind that comes from believing the lie had worked, that I'd still go through with it, that she'd won. But I didn't take her hand. I didn't reach for the vows. Instead, I turned to the guests, took the mic, and calmly said, "Before we begin, I want to show you all something very special, a little tribute, a glimpse into what love is and what it is not." Her smile froze. The lights dimmed. The projector lit up. The screen behind us began to glow. First came the sweet engagement photos, the beach proposal, the fall leaves, the ring close-ups, the crowd awed. She stood next to me, frozen. Then the music changed. A message appeared. Behind every perfect picture, there's a hidden truth. Then it began. Her messages, her texts about her ex. The line, "I don't love Sophia, but she'll give me a good life." Gasps rippled across the crowd. Then the cafe photo, the timestamp, his hand. My cousin Nate zoomed the photo slightly for emphasis. Her sister stood up from the front row in disbelief. Her mother covered her mouth. She stepped toward me, whispering, "What are you doing?" I didn't answer. Then came the final slide. A black screen with white letters. "You never loved me back." Silence. Thick. Crushed. I turned to her. She looked pale, shaking. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. I gently handed the mic to the pastor. "There will be no wedding today." And then I walked. Past the aisle. Past the stunned guests. Past the rows of lies. I didn't run. I didn't cry. I walked like someone who had already said goodbye days ago. She shouted after me, but no one moved. No one followed. The silence said it all. Outside, the air was sharp and cold, but for the first time in weeks, I could breathe. She had tried to humiliate me with quiet betrayal. I had answered with quiet truth. And now, standing under the open sky, far from the altar that nearly bound me to a lie, I smiled. Not because I was free, but because I had freed myself. The fallout was brutal. By nightfall, the video was already circulating on social media, not because I posted it, but because someone in the audience had. The clip of her standing frozen at the altar while her own words lit up the screen behind her, it went viral. Within 48 hours, it had over 1 million views. The comments weren't kind. People were shocked, furious, fascinated. Strangers thanked me for exposing her. Others shared their own stories of betrayal. She had always curated this picture-perfect life online. The doting fiancé, the flawless couple, the fairy tale love story. But now? Now the illusion had cracked. She messaged me. Of course she did. Paragraphs filled with confusion, desperation, gaslighting, excuses. I was honest. "I never meant to hurt you. You embarrassed me in front of everyone." She still didn't get it. I didn't respond. Her friends started unfollowing her. Some messaged me saying they had always felt something was off. Her family didn't know where to look. Her ex, the one she apparently still loved? Yeah, he didn't take her back either. Word got around. He blocked her. Karma did the heavy lifting. And me? I took a week to disappear, shut off my phone, packed a bag, booked a solo cabin far from everyone. I needed to process not just the betrayal, but the escape. Because that's what it felt like I had been seconds away from signing a contract with a person who never really saw me. I cried. A lot. Not for her, but for the version of me that had trusted her, for the woman who had dreamed about their first dance, their first house, their first child. That woman had died the moment she whispered about her ex, and in her place stood someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who learned the hardest way that silence is never the answer to betrayal. I began healing by writing it all down, every moment, every red flag, every time I had ignored my instincts. It wasn't just therapy. It was a roadmap, a blueprint, a record of what not to settle for again. Weeks later, my inbox was still full. People asking how I stayed so calm, if the video was staged, if it was real. It was all real, every second of it. And the irony? The venue called me to refund part of the cost. Apparently, the footage from the day boosted their bookings. Some people love chaos. I didn't mind. That refund helped pay for my trip to Italy. Yep, I went. Alone. I stood in Venice on a quiet stone bridge, watching the water move under the fading light, and for the first time, I felt whole. She had tried to use me, to settle with me while her heart belonged elsewhere. But in the end, she lost more than a wedding. She lost the one person who loved her enough to still consider marrying her after that confession. And I lost nothing. I gained freedom. Sometimes the greatest revenge is simply walking away without a word. Because when the truth speaks for itself, you don't need to shout.